Wong versus Gachikun, a lot of history in multiple offline premieres.
Like we said before, just to reiterate, these two faced at the Singapore offline where Gachikun, it was a tall order and he was still learning Rashid at the time because the character came out in July. I believe it did happen in October, the Singapore offline. So he didn't have that much experience, but his high-level understanding and being in the scenario as a tournament player, that persevered and got him here. Now, it's going to be an even more in-depth, a more intricate run back because they have much more knowledge, and these two play each other online a fair bit.
They sure do.
But now we've actually slapped an odd $200,000 to $300,000 on the table. So it's a little bit different this time.
This is the money match right here for sure. Within the top three, no doubt. Here we go. It's losers finals. Chris Wong versus Gachikun, game one.
Chris Wong might play this a little bit different as opposed to what NL was doing there. He might walk in that medium range and then get the cancel. So Gachikun's button choices up close are going to be significant, and already pops out an OD spinning mixer, but the overhead gets checked. Yeah, these guys are going to be fine on all cylinders.
And you already see it, the hammer of justice pounding away, the damage.
Get hit with the bonk. There you go. All right, there goes the three-piece there. Try to press a stand hard punch, but identified, gets perfect parry, and that will close out round one for Chris Wong in this losers final.
It felt like a very standard set play type scenario as soon as Chris Wong got that first opening. That is for sure. And guess what? That hard knockdown gives him that exact scenario again, but great defense from Gachikun. And you see it, man. He is hammering away with that crouching medium punch, forcing Gachikun to press the button. And guess what? The button does hit, allowing him for the SR setup, but it's pretty close.
He's one of the best people at dealing with the SR, but let's see. He's going up against the specialist, and he gets opened up with the Eagle Spike. He mitigated the damage, though. That's fine. And he reversals with an uppercut.
Gachikun no longer has to take any really big risks considering the life, but man, he still tried to get in with that roundhouse. He's trying to check Chris Wong's approach.
That could be the round.
It's gotta be. It's already passed. He's already been in the yellow. It's past 50% of the drive gauge. It's time to go to Memphis yet again.
There you have it. Game one to Chris Wong. He's definitely got to be careful with his button choices. Up close with the mediums, he's ready. When he moves himself out of range, he wants to stand roundhouse, especially the stand roundhouse, crouching heavy punch and stand heavy punch to whiff. So it could be super scary to play that game with Chris Wong in terms of the footsie battle. No whiff punish there on the stand medium punch. That could have been clipped by anything there. Still waiting and adjusting that spacing. Micro steps are necessary.
Slowly building that gauge back from both ends. Chris Wong steadily creeping up. Gachikun, yeah, he sees the crouching medium punch, he's backing away. The suppressor, they clip whatever counter poke, excuse me, that Gachikun wanted to get out. Flash knuckle, fireball into the upper.
Still dealing with it, gets a delayed throw tech there.
You thought you can dash?
Well, he has to run in and take his Oki there. Good block there from Chris Wong. He's got a very firm understanding and confident on how to deal with Rashid's Oki situation, because Rashid has some of the best Oki in the game. So waiting it out there. Yeah, he wants Chris Wong to whiff a button, but he's being patient, slowly walking him down.
Oh, that was at the perfect timing for the counter hit. Gachikun.
Yep.
Not going to be overzealous with it. He understands what he has in the drive gauge. He's going to be playing that spacing game pretty well. Perfect carry on up, forward throw. Doesn't have level 2 just yet, but he's going to be building up little by little.
I love the bait there. Get the dash and super patient there, and he's going to get the counter hit conversion into the stand medium kick to close out that round. Again, he's got to go through some of the best loops in the world. He's done it with NL. And it's going to be an arduous task against Chris Wong.
Team swiping away already. Gachikun at that max range to get that crouching heavy punch. Chris Wong now he's steadily creeping. That's the second time he's gotten that opener against the overhead.
That's the only button he really needs to use against Rashid's toolset, and he gets a throw bait here. So how is Gachikun going to respond?
That's the second time he's answered with the wake up button against the safe jump scenario.
And the perfect parry, and he went for a crouch fist instead of a stand medium punch. I guess he wanted to take off more drive gains than possible, but he can burn him out here, and he will do that with Altair. It will burn him out. That means he's got no level 2. But that's fine, because he's actually in a highly beneficial scenario here. Near the corner, burnt him out. Gets the stun.
So sneaky.
Now, can he get the round is the question. He's going to have to do the sky high, and he's going to burn it out. Heavy spinning mixer should do it.
And it's just enough damage towards the tail end of that as well. You know, you're looking at that situation exactly. Chris Wong had 3 bars to his name. Even if he managed to mash out of a string, or at least before the DI had hit, sure, it'll take out a lot of damage from Gachikun, but I think in that scenario with Chris Wong down 3 whole bars, Gachikun would have been totally fine with it. Hence why the risk he was taking with the DI.
Well, it's fine. It's only 1 apiece right now. That's the scores on the doors. Oh, walked away there. The micro walk back and get the huge punish, only for trying to throw his opponent into a nice 30% there. Nice. Incorrect challenge out of the frying pan and into the fire. And he waits for the delayed back throw. He thought he was going to tech Chris or throw Chris Wong, so. Ooh, did he get it?
Oh,
didn't
no.
Oh dear. He's going to go for a tricky setup. He can DI after this. He's going to be tricky with it. He's going to do Arabian Cyclone instead because he doesn't want to go for the early stun. He will threaten the stun. There's a throw.
Tried to press the button afterwards. You saw the counter hit. Still gets him grounded. More than enough in the tank. Gachikun securing the first round of game 3.
And when he does the dash up stand median kick, he's like +1 or +2 in burnout. That's why it's actually legitimate pressure to deal with. And here comes the Yasar. Double back dash just for reassurance, just in case. A little bit more space to work with.
I'm so scared to even see anybody try to jump out of there, but the defense, let's see it. Early drive reversal against the enhanced mixer.
Well, he forced him to spend his drive gauge because now he's near burnout, so he's going to have to cancel into the level 3. Yes. Yeah. So, depending on how this round goes, what Gachikun did there to force you to spend your drive gauge, only to make you spend resources or expend them elsewhere, was pretty smart. Still got him low on drive gauge. Perfect parry.
The big drop, a very significant drop. Punish counter against the flash knuckle. Gachikun actually in a very, very good space to get this level 2 yet again.
Oh, the backdash.
He's looking for the knockdown.
He didn't spin a mixer. He hesitated, and I think it was a good decision. And a second
so
Yasar. Good
Chris
lord,
Wong.
where did he conjure that up from? True block string.
He's got all the sand in the world around him.
Kick it away. That could have been around if he committed to 2 jabs, Vicious. Oh,
no way! No way is enough damage! And it just is Chris Wong surviving for the rest of this game, tying up 1 round apiece, 1 game apiece, and there it is. The magic button. Watch medium punch getting the big punish counter. In the corner you go. Gachikun, what's the answer? Wake up button jet against stand jab. Not intimidated by Chris Wong's presence in the corner.
He was staggering it, hoping Chris Wong would block and then try to open him up with something later, but Chris Wong just got hit by them. Tenuous damage, not a problem. Still trying to click that overhead with the crouching medium punch because he doesn't go airborne until later in that animation, so still being persistent with that crouch medium. 1 more medium attack cancel should do the trick.
Staggering. The stagger. Gachikun backing away.
Don't whiff a button, Gachikun. Oh,
he literally just did. For who now, jammers? For whose sake?
I bit my tongue because I was about to get sacked on camera.
Oh. You know, you're just fine. Good recovery. And good recovery from Chris Wong as well, making it hurt against Gachikun. You had just said it. You are not allowed to whiff a button against the man who has some of the best whiff punish normals in the game.
That was rough. But he's still in this dogfight here. He can smell it. He can smell it.
Too wild for me right now, jammers. I need you to tone it down. Chris Wong up 1 game against Gachikun.
See if he starts here again. Hopefully he's not super deterred by what's happened in the neutral when he's with buttons and so on and so forth. He's tried overheads as well, but Chris Wong just being resilient and checking everything. Laser focused on point with that stuff in the neutral. That mid-range game.
Jesus.
I'm telling you, he has such a great understanding. Good confidence and matchup knowledge.
Oh, the low forward actually pays out. Still within range. Chris Wong maybe thought he could advance forward. The overhead meaty enough to get the link off of the sand jab. Yeah. OD rings out. It's been very, very rare from Chris Wong.
He denied that momentum changer there for Gachikun. Now they go back full screen. Throw out a couple of whirlwind shots. Still trying to get him. And this is what's interesting about Chris Wong. He'll try and walk forward and perfect parry the whirlwind shots instead of jumping, because that's the low risk and it can actually turn into a high reward in terms of positioning anyway. Still can't whiff a button.
Speaking of positioning, Gachikun, he's trying to still keep that space against Chris Wong. Maybe he's looking for a drive rush perhaps, but he's not going to be whiffing any buttons soon. He paid for it in the last game, and you can see the different approach. He's absolutely going to be standing okay up until this point. As long as you're within range, Chris Wong will definitely attempt to check your walk back.
And there's a spinning mix-up, but there's no Yasar to cover the tracks, and he's going to take the round. He has to take the round from this Tempest Moon into the Rashid kick. He didn't need to do that, but that was fine. I will take that. I don't know if he could have got the pickup from the medium spinning mixer, but just for reassurance, he spent the bar.
Wow.
And I'm only talking about that because he's given up Yasar momentarily. But he gets the anti-air and he flips out.
I just heard someone scream in the crowd after that whiff. Jesus.
There you go, backs away, gets the back throw here, does Chris Wong, and he'll chase him down. Just by being
a perfect parry too into the roundhouse. I didn't even know he had enough time for that. Jeez.
Trying to perfect parry the overhead. Still trying to get in that range to stop Gachikun from doing anything with a medium attack. Oh,
and you saw it, yeah, Gachikun tried to press the button on the way down. Chris Wong in the ring with the fierce, no stagger. He's walking back and forth.
Yeah, he's not
Gachikun is absolutely not biting. That's the second time, the second instance he's caught Chris Wong trying to walk back and tease.
He's got to summon the whirlwind shortly. There we go.
It's got to be here. Isar time. The turbulent winds are coming.
Don't go forward.
Better seek shelter. Category 5.
Block it out, through block string. Good patience there from Chris Wong, and that could be blocked. No, it wasn't! It wasn't! He took the gamble, and we saw the note of approval in the player cam from Gachikun. And he said, all right, I see you. And again, that's not a crazy choice because that propels him to match point. That's going to put him in grand finals.
Gachikun's got 1 bar to his name. A little bit closer to that possible win condition. If he can land a proper sequence, he's already got the punish counter he got to throw.
Back dashes again. His defensive choices and knowing what high-level players want to do at specific situations has been phenomenal there. And he dashed it right after that throw tech. Commit to the eagle spike. He's got to do the whirlwinds. He's got to do it.
Let's go put Gachikun over the edge against Chris Wong. Still has a little bit left.
He's got to get another one. Yeah, he's just going to let it linger there. It's going to linger for a little bit longer, and he gets hit with the Gatling gun. Whirlwind shot to close the gap. That was the OD version as well, with the projectile priority.
We're going to a final game, ladies and gentlemen. Gachikun riding all of the momentum of the wind, establishing that dominance with the life lead, getting himself another lifeline and a shot into the grand final seat with Chris Wong. He's got some time to adjust.
Ruminating as much as possible, taking that breather. You know what's amazing about this tournament? This is the most I've seen players just not hit the rematch button. I wonder why. Strange, isn't it?
With this much on the line, I really don't blame them.
Interesting.
From earlier on in top 16, there was plenty of rematches instantly, but
they know what they're doing. Oh boy, that's a huge damaging combo there for Chris Wong, and he will flash knuckle his way to the corner once again, and he beat a delayed button. Jumps away.
Not his turn anymore, so he has to back off, but still the counter hit. You saw Chris Wong in an attempt to possibly press a medium punch. Gachikun get into the punch, safe jump into the throw. The defensive choices from Chris Wong have been so on point, at least for this round. And look at how much of the life lead he has. He could take risks if he wanted to and throw out a normal, but it's going to be Sandblast. That's still a risk in and of itself at that range, and it's going to be totally fine as he puts himself in match point again.
Chris Wong, 1 round away from being in the grand final, but what a check there on the drive rush. Once again, stays in front. It looked like that was a backdash he tried to run away from. And he's taking the damage each and every time. And a check. And he knows that distance where people just want to do an arbitrary drive rush to change up things in the neutral. And he will save himself from being burnt out. It's not going to get confiscated yet, but Gachikun can't say the same. Overhead, that's not what he wanted.
There is a moment for Gachikun to get... Oh, no! That's it! Chris Wong eliminates Gachikun with a well-placed normal into the drive rush and more than enough damage. He's going back in to face off against Uma.
Numerous times in that set, and even throughout the day, he's managed to avoid some throws and punish them accordingly. And they've helped advance deeper into the bracket, closer to the cash prize that we're all fixated on. Chris Wong doing the work here. And what a representation from Hong Kong, I must say.
Listen, it doesn't ring the same as saying you are the champion, but Gachikun, again, former Capcom Cup champion, walking away with $200,000 is still a very impressive amount of money, but also just as impressive his performance thus far. There's a lot of fatigue that really settles in, and these guys are playing at maximum capacity at this point.
And let's not forget as well, he had to do Luke matchups back to back. And there is a fundamental difficulty for Rashid in this matchup.
I'm wincing as you say that because you are so right.
Well, he tried and he actually kept it super entertaining as well, but we got to give his flowers. Chris Wong, he actually dealt with the Yasar beautifully the majority of the time there and was still able to keep resilient because, again, Rashid has a very complex toolset that you have to unpack. We talk about this time and time again. Luke is just keep it simple and effective, and it is absolutely powerful.
Right.
So there's not much he needs to change outside of discipline as a player. You have to integrate new tools, new strategies, mix that in with drive rush as a Rashid player, and it can be mentally taxing if you've seen it. But the fact that he took it all the way down to the wire, Gachikun, was brilliant to see.
You started to see a little bit of cracks in Chris Wong's defense. Gachikun really abusing the ranges that he was at, or at least willing to stand at against Chris Wong with low medium kick. But again, I feel like it's just a death by 1,000 cuts. Rinch says it all the time because of the fact that Rashid's not going to be the one to deal out some really big damage outside of a super situation. Hence why Isar is so effective to push not only the positioning, but also the mix-up factor.
We are indeed correct there, and there you go. The most used button is probably the most pressed button throughout the competitive season in Street Fighter 6.
There's got to be like a stat for that, right? Like how many cross medium punches were pressed throughout the entirety of every Luke player in top 16?
Dude, I mean, it's
the thousands.
It was in Street Fighter 5. You could check how many times you press the button. Maybe you could do it in this game as well, but look, it's highly effective. It ain't broke, don't fix it. And it's taken so many players so far. Outside of that, there's a wealth of buttons he has. A treasure trove of good buttons. You see it there with the Luke players all the time. So
my parents are having a blast just watching this. Like, that was sick.